Good evening and welcome to Black Bright News, or should I say good morning, good afternoon and good night, depending on which part of the world you're watching this from. Every now and then a story comes along that's uncomfortable to talk about because it forces us to ask difficult questions about the very people we are meant to trust to protect us. Today's news story is one of those. Although the incident dates back to 2023, the recording has only recently entered the public domain. That raises another important question when serious allegations against police remain largely out of the public view for many years. Does that delay itself affect public confidence? Many people will still wonder whether accountability feels less transparent when the public only learns the full extent of events long after they've occurred. A little background. In Norfolk, a formal misconduct investigation has been launched after police officers were accidentally recorded making deeply troubling comments. The recording was never supposed to exist. It happened because activist Gemma Barnes had her personal body camera confiscated after being arrested in 2023. The officers took the camera from her but forgot to switch it off. For the next 4 hours, that camera quietly recorded conversations inside the police station. And what it captured has raised serious concerns. Among the comments reportedly recorded was a female officer saying, "I illegally stop, search, I see 3 females when I arrest them." For anyone unfamiliar with the term, IC3 is a police identity code referring to a black person. The recording also allegedly captured officers referring to the detained activist as a waste of space, along with conversations about paying for sexual services at a local well-being centre. In an age of smartphones, CCTV, dash cams and body cameras, institutions are increasingly accountable not only to internal oversight but also to technology itself. Sometimes the most powerful witness is neither a person nor a document. It is a recording that was never meant to exist. Now, it's important to say that these allegations are the subject of a formal misconduct investigation. That investigation must be allowed to take its course. Not every allegation leads to the same outcome, and due process matters for everyone, including police officers. But there is something much bigger here than one investigation. Policing works because of consent. Unlike many countries around the world, policing in Britain has traditionally been built on the principle that officers police with the consent of the public. That consent depends on trust. The public must believe that the law applies equally to everyone. They must believe that when an officer stops them, it is because there are reasonable grounds, not because of the colour of their skin. They must believe that officers are accountable for their actions, and that is why, when people lose that confidence, the damage spreads far beyond one police force. For many black communities, stop and search has been a source of concern for decades. Statistics have repeatedly shown that black people are disproportionately stopped and searched compared to white people. Police leaders often explain that disproportionality does not automatically prove discrimination, and that operational factors must also be considered. That debate has also continued for years. But imagine hearing someone apparently admit that they deliberately conduct illegal stop and searches against black women, even if it were only one officer speaking. Those words would reinforce fears that many people have carried for generations. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild, and trust has been broken time and time again, sadly. If a young woman hears this story, will she feel reassured the next time blue lights appear behind her? If a parent hears this story, will they worry a little more when their son or daughter leaves the house? If a witness sees a crime, will they feel as confident coming forward? These questions affect real relationships between police and the communities they serve. What makes this incident particularly striking is that the officers believed nobody was listening. There was no television interview, no courtroom, no public statement, just ordinary conversation between colleagues who appeared to think they were speaking in private. Sometimes what people say when they believe no one is listening tells us far more about carefully prepared public statements, far more than carefully prepared public statements and character ever could. This incident also reminds us of the importance of accountability. Body-worn cameras were introduced largely to increase transparency, protect officers from false allegations, and provide reliable evidence. In this case, a body camera appears to have done exactly what cameras do. It recorded events without emotion, opinion, or agenda. Ironically, the very technology that is often used to scrutinise members of the public has now become part of the scrutiny of the police themselves. Accountability cannot be one-sided. If we expect citizens to obey the law, we must expect those accountable is not being anti-police. We must expect those accountable. And that is not being anti-police. Okay. Many officers go to work each day wanting to protect people, solve crimes and serve the communities with integrity. They deserve public confidence too. When misconduct is ignored, it damages their reputation as much as anyone else's, because the actions of a few cast a shadow over many. The answer is not to lose faith in every officer, nor is it to dismiss serious allegations because they are uncomfortable. The answer is transparency, independent investigation, and, where wrongdoing is proven, appropriate consequences. Justice must never depend on who is standing in the dock. Whether someone is wearing a hoodie or a uniform, the same principles should apply, because the badge is not simply a symbol of authority. It is a symbol of responsibility. I'm getting tongue-tied here. And responsibility means being held to the same standards that officers rightly expect from the public. At Black Bright News, we often say that trust is one of the most valuable currencies in society. Once people stop believing that institutions are fair, rebuilding that confidence can take years, even decades. This investigation is therefore about much more than a recording that was accidentally left running. It is about whether people can continue to believe that the law is administered fairly, impartially, and without prejudice. The outcome of the investigation will matter, but so too will the willingness of the police service to confront difficult truths openly, learn from them where necessary, and demonstrate that no one is above standards expected of those entrusted with public power. Because in a democracy, authority is strongest not when it is feared, but when it is trusted. I'm Lady Loy, and this has been Black Bright News. And yes, we have to remember that the police force they represent society. They are a form of society, so many of them will have societal views. And we will have people in our society who have biased views, whether it's open bias or what they call unconscious bias. And, talking frivolously about, their role it does feel uncomfortable, because it's only those police officers that were caught on camera, and so it leads us to believe, are there others? So I'm glad it's come out into the light. We'll have to see what happens. In the meantime, we mustn't jump to conclusions. No point getting anxious and angry. Just keep the peace for now. And yes, I am Black Bright News, Lady Loy on Black Bright News. Take care now. Bye bye.